You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. So happy to have you here today. So today we're going to be talking about dealing with the unexpected. Now, that could be a tragic loss. That could be thinking that you had it. You were going to do so good on a test or maybe at an interview, and then it went another direction. So what do you do when the unexpected happens and you had planned for a different future, a different outcome? Well, you have to rally. You have to reassess your life, figure out, what was the lessons? What is the good that you can take from that? And then how can you take those lessons and turn them into purpose? Kind of building that legacy for your life. Now, legacy does not have to be building a business, necessarily having a thriving marriage. It can just be writing the journal of your life story, what you've learned and how you grew from it. So that is what we're focusing on today. Now, I do encourage you to call in if you have any questions at 800-333-0001. I'll be standing by taking your calls. Also, in our next segment, we're joined by Sandy Peckinpah. Now, her story is one that's very touching because her son died of bacterial meningitis at age 16. But she took his death and she made something very positive out of it. And I won't give it all away, but she will share that journey with you. Also, if you want to hear today's show again, make sure that you go to livingfullout.com. All of our shows will be waiting for you there. Or go to your app store or go to Alexa and just look out for Living Full Out Radio. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Yes, hi, thank you for calling in. So when you say that they're treating you poorly, can you give me one example? Okay, that's not a good friend, right? Have you considered letting this friend go?
Multiple times, but then I think back about all of our good times and I don't want to let that go.
Got it. So here's what I want you to think about. How old are you today, age-wise?
22.
22. Oh my gosh, I wish I was 22 again. You have so many good years ahead of you. Okay, but let's consider 22. Are you friends today with the same friends that you were at age 2, at age 12?
Some of them.
Some of them, but not all of them, right? For some reason, you maybe because those friends that you stayed with were better to you, maybe you felt more connected. Some you let go, and some you carried with you. And so what I'm getting at is, while you might want to keep this friend because of the past, you might really want to think about whether or not this friendship is going to serve you into the future. And I always look at life like a book, right? There's chapters. So perhaps that friend was in chapters of your life, but is this a friend that you want to be with you also at 32, at 42? At 92. Do you see what I'm saying? And don't be afraid to let go of friendships. It's not really a goodbye. It just means that for one reason or another, maybe you've grown apart. And maybe, just maybe, this friend is either jealous of you, or maybe you've grown in a way that's more mature, or your passions or values have changed. So it's not that that friend is a bad person. It's not that, the friendship has weakened. It's probably just changed. Have you considered that?
No, I haven't.
Okay. And so what I want you to do is really think about, beyond this conversation, saying to yourself, gosh, the way that this friend is currently acting, the way that where I want to go in the future, is this a friendship that I want to take with me? And what you might want to do is just start spending a little less time with that person. Don't cut them off. Don't be mean. Don't do anything. But just let it kind of pull apart. Give a little bit of distance. And then see if they rally to get you back. See if they become a better friend to stay in touch with you. But if they don't, and if they continue to pick on you, well, then it may be time to turn a new page and meet a new friend. Can you consider that?
Yes, I can.
Okay, and you know what? I'm with you. I'm with you because I love friends in my life. And sometimes we just want to keep all of our friends, all of our family, all of our pets with us forever and ever. But the fact of the matter is, to live full out in life, you're going to grow. You're going to change. You're going to have dreams, and you need those people that are going to run with you. Okay? Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Have a great day. I'm so glad that, thank you. I'm so glad that we touched on that topic, because when we're talking today about dealing with the unexpected, sometimes it's unexpected that we will need to let relationships go. But you have to think about what are you reaching for? What relationship, whether it be friendship, intimate relationships, maybe co-workers, partnerships like that, what do you want those to look like? And make sure that you nurture relationships that serve you to become your highest and best self. Now, I'm getting word that we have another caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for calling. How can we help you today?
Well, I have a lot of things that I am working on. I'm a writer, producer in television and film. But nothing seems to have been panning out recently, and it's getting hard to stay optimistic and not discouraged. So I was wondering if you had any advice on how to stay focused and not be discouraged.
You know what? I have been in the entertainment industry in multiple levels, broadcasting, music, you name it. So I understand that competitive nature of that industry. The thing is, what do you think is a special quality of you as a producer, potential director, as a writer, that creative part of you? What do you think makes you different?
That's a very good question. I have a different perspective because of my background and where I come from, and I can offer, the stories that haven't been told yet, and That's what I've been trying to do.
Okay. So when I asked you that question, and you said that's a really good question, right? I want you to take that question, and I want you to journal about it. I want you to just write down every possible thought about what makes you unique and special in this industry. And when you say something like you bring out stories that no one else can tell, then I want you to expand on that. Maybe make that a part 2, okay? And expand on why are you able to bring stories out that no one else can do. And then when you say it's about maybe your culture or how you grew up, make that a number 3. How does that affect your ability to have a better outcome? Now, the second thing I want you to do is I want you to study other people that you admire. I want you to think about how did they get started. See if you can go on YouTube or other places and find videos that talk about, the times that they almost wanted to give up. Or, what was their most proudest moment? Or what were the things they'd like to do over? And if you do that, I think you're going to find that focus. You're going to find that inspiration to keep you going. But I absolutely appreciate you calling in. Okay? And for everybody listening, when we come back, we're going to be joined by our inspirational guest, Sandy Peckinpah. It's very much a touching story you don't want to miss. Today we're talking about dealing with the unexpected. And sometimes that just happens. But we can handle those moments with grace with determination, and most of all, we can live full out in life. We just have to stay the course and stay positive. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way.
For an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
I'm Nancy Solari, Certified Life and Business Coach. I want to invite you to the Personal Development Boot Camp. During the boot camp, we're going to be looking at taking those insecurities that you have and getting rid of them. We're also going to look at ways in which you can thrive and live a life full of purpose. Go to livingfullout.com/bootcamp, livingfullout.com/bootcamp to sign up. I believe in you, and here's to you living your life full out.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar. I was having fun with my friends.
I
had one too many drinks.
I
got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road.
And all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road.
It happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
It happened so quickly, the cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about dealing with the unexpected, which honestly, we all have to put on our seatbelts in life, right? Because we don't know what's coming. We don't know if it's going to go right, left, straight, or sometimes we're going to roll backwards. But the thing is, we choose inspirational guests that we feel will shine a light on a topic that is inspiring, but also educational. And so today I very much would like to welcome Sandy Peckinpah to the show. She's going to share with us about the loss of her 16-year-old Garrett. And so I'd like to welcome Sandy to the show.
Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate being here.
Absolutely. And I didn't want to go too far deep into the intro with the story because there's so many different points to it that I think are really, from an educational standpoint, important. And I really believe that as parents, you all just do the best you can, right? There's no manual, right? There's no go to page 56 when this happens. And so let's take our audience back. When your son was 16, okay, it was shortly before Christmas, but he wasn't feeling well, and you went into supermom mode and took him to the doctor. What did the doctor give you in terms of advice?
Well, he woke up with a fever, and it was over 100. I think it was around 101. And my husband and I agreed that we should take him to the doctor, and even though it was a Saturday, and it was the Saturday before Christmas, we decided to try and locate a doctor. Our regular pediatrician wasn't available, so we found a doctor in our local town that we knew of and other people went to. And the doctor checked him and said, "Oh, yes, this is the type A flu. It's going around." And I didn't think anything of it because a friend of Garrett's had the type A flu and was recovering from it. And so I thought, oh, okay, that's what the type A flu is. It was a high fever. It was just not feeling good. His stomach was upset, lethargic. And so I drove him back home, and we put him in bed in his bedroom, and I checked on him periodically throughout the day. He seemed fine. He had a television in his room, and he was watching TV. The fever, the doctor said, give him fluids and Tylenol and Advil and just keep the treatment going. I even made him the traditional bowl of chicken soup, and he seemed to eat that around 6 o'clock. And I thought, okay, he's going to be better. We talked about going shopping the next day for Christmas. He wanted to get his girlfriend a special gift. And so as far as I knew, everything was fine. Later in the evening, pretty close to midnight, I believe we had actually started watching Saturday Night Live together, and I was sitting in the room with him watching, and he said, "Mom, my headache is really bad." So I called the doctor, and there was no answer, so I called the emergency room and said, "What should I give him? His headache is really bothering him. Should I bring him in?" And the emergency room said, "Well, call the doctor and leave a message." I really had no options other than to try to keep calling the doctor. And the doctor advised that this was the type A flu. It's a symptom. Just keep going, and he'll probably be fine in 48 hours, maybe a little longer. So that's what we did. And I said goodnight to him, told him that I loved him. I went upstairs. It was probably a little after midnight. I set the TV timer so it could go off when he was done watching Saturday Night Live. And as far as I knew, everything was okay. In the morning, and I woke up, and it was late, later than I usually woke up, because I had a 1-year-old child at home who usually would wake me up at 6 a.m., but he slept in too. And I suddenly had this feeling that I needed to run downstairs. So I ran downstairs toward his bedroom, and as soon as I hit the hall, I looked into his bedroom at the end of the hall, and I felt this incredible sense of doom and this incredible sense of something was wrong. At that point, I screamed, and my husband came running downstairs, and I ran into the bedroom and looked at him and knew that something had happened. And at that point, I jumped on top of him. I tried CPR. My husband was frantically calling 911. My other 3 children were standing outside the bedroom, unfortunately, watching this whole thing transpire. And I kept thinking he's alive because I could feel under him that he was still warm. And when I blow breath into him, his breath would come out. So I thought, he's alive. I just have to wake him up. And the paramedics came and asked me to leave the room at that point. And they took him away in an ambulance. They wouldn't let me go with him. We followed in a car, and at the point that I got to the hospital, they pronounced him dead.
Well, and Sandy, you know, I'm so sorry for that, because I know Garrett was your oldest. And, you know, while he's one of four, you know, the other three are dynamic in their own way, but, you know, there's something special about your first. And
of course,
when you heard the words that he had passed away, on the way to the hospital, did you have hope in your heart that he was going to be fine, or did your motherly instincts have you think differently?
I thought he was going to be fine. I really did, because the paramedics just kept trying to revive him, and I thought, there's hope, there's hope, there's hope. And as I said, every time I blew my breath into his, it would come out, and I thought that was him breathing, but it was actually my own breath coming out. And by the time I got to the hospital, I thought, for sure they've revived him at that point. And they had been unable to revive him, and brought me into a private room and said that they were very sorry, but he didn't make it. And I just couldn't believe it. Nothing like this had ever happened to me before. And I don't think there is anything in our hearts as mothers that prepares us for that day, because we don't expect it. It is the unexpected.
Yeah. And today we are talking about dealing with the unexpected, and it's, where do you go from there? You know, how do you lead the troops? How do you bring life back into a home where someone has passed away? How do you answer all these questions when you're grieving yourself? So I would like you to stay with us, and we're going to come back after this break and, you know, continue with, you know, how the next days and months and years unfolded for you. And everybody listening, I mean, this is Sandy's story. Obviously, she lost Garrett this way, but the thing is it's really important to take time today to call that loved one, that friend, just reminisce, tell them you love them, because with the unexpected, you just never know. But at the same time, to live full out means that we do love people that much, whether they're alive or in their memory. So stay with us. We're going to be coming right back after this break, talking more with Sandy. And again, today we're talking about dealing with the unexpected. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true. I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about dealing with the unexpected, which is always uncomfortable and really actually scary to think about. But we all go through it. And today we've brought you an inspirational guest, Sandy Peckinpah, who had to deal with the unexpected loss of her 16-year-old Garrett. And so we'd like to welcome Sandy back to the show.
Thank you, Nancy.
Now, I know that at first glance, at the first diagnosis, the doctors thought that Garrett had the flu. But you then went on to understand after the autopsy that it was actually bacterial meningitis. But can you share with the audience what that is?
Yes. We were quite surprised. After he died, of course, we had several doctors trying to figure out what had happened. But there is no complete test unless you do a spinal tap. But you can suspect it by symptoms like a high fever, a stiff neck, sensitivity to light. And the typical age group, the most susceptible, are ages 16 through 23. So my 16-year-old son was susceptible, especially college students, those that spend time in dorm rooms. What meningitis is, the bacterial form of meningitis, is an inflammation that surrounds the brain and the spine. And it's a very aggressive bacteria that can kill very, very quickly. And in the case of my son, it was 24 hours or less that he had died. the autopsy actually brought great comfort to me, because they said even if he had been diagnosed correctly, his form of bacterial meningitis was so aggressive that he would have been left probably with severe brain damage or other issues. They can lose the use of their arms, their legs, their sight, their sound. It's a terribly misdiagnosed disease, because it is so like the flu. It starts out like the flu, and in the case of that year that he died, many people were suffering from the type A flu. Now, and it was 3 years after Garrett died, that the meningitis vaccine came to be. And so today, they're recommending that children that go to college or spend a lot of time in dorm rooms or in locker rooms, that it might be considered, if it's considered right for your child.
Wow.
Thank goodness for the vaccine.
That's
and
great.
The awareness around meningitis right now.
That's great that that's now available, and I'm just curious, because after you came back from the hospital, after you found out about the autopsy, it kind of answered a lot of questions as to what happened and why. But how did you handle the grieving process? Trying to be strong for your kids, but also how did it affect your relationship with your husband?
Grieving and the recovery after loss is the most daunting thing in the world. You don't have any preparation for it. There's nothing that prepares you when you give birth to that child that you might lose them. And no matter how much you know about the dangers of the world, there's no protective bubble wrap that you can put your child in and say, oh, okay, I'm prepared for this, and we'll get through this. It was heartbreaking, of course, and my husband and I, that night after he died, we vowed that we would support our children in every way possible to bring them a childhood that would not be completely grief-filled. And I knew that they needed a whole mom, and my family needed a whole wife and mother. And we were so fortunate to have a friend come over that afternoon with a book called The Bereaved Parent. And he had lost his child just 4 or 5 years before, I believe, and about the same age. And he said, this will be the hardest time of your life, but I promise you, you will get through this. Read this book, talk to other parents, and just know that there is life after loss. And I believed him. And being a writer, I thought, I'm going to read this book, and if I can get through this someday, I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to share my story with other parents. But it was absolutely the hardest time in my whole life, because every day you wake up and there's that moment between sleep and reality that you think everything's okay. And then it hits you in the gut again. And you're reminded that something is horribly wrong and there's someone missing in your family. I tried to continue with all the activities of my children and keep them as normal as possible, even though we all knew there was that great big hole. And we continued to talk about Garrett. I think the important thing is that there is no just putting it aside and trying to ignore it. And I sought out those friends of mine that were willing to talk about my son, and that I could call them up and have coffee and tell story after story if I wanted to. And I did that with my children too. We kept him very, very much alive in our hearts and our minds. And
and the thing that I think is so interesting, Sandy, is that it's sad that a lot of times losses happen around a holiday. He passed away around Christmas. I lost my precious Nana, my grandmother, around Thanksgiving. But there can also be kind of a bittersweet holiday. And we're talking today about dealing with the unexpected. Your first Mother's Day without Garrett was actually unexpected, believe it or not, in a positive way. Can you share with us about that?
Yes. So he died just the week before Christmas. And so my first Mother's Day was that following May. And that feeling of doom leading up to it was just so difficult. I just felt like I was walking around with a lump in my throat most of the day. I had gotten to the point that I was visiting the cemetery on a daily basis just because I needed a ritual to have a place to quietly grieve without my children and without anybody else around. And so I would go to a cemetery and I'd clean his stone as though I was cleaning his room and put fresh flowers out. But on this particular day, a couple days before Mother's Day, I didn't have time to clean it before I picked up the children from school, so I took them with me and I asked them to please stay in the car. I just wanted to have a moment alone with Garrett. And when I got to that gravestone, I said, please, Garrett, help me get through this Mother's Day. You were the first to call me Mom, and I just don't know how I can do it. And I was very quiet when I got back in the car, and the kids knew I was upset. We got home, and I started to make dinner, and they were just saying, when is dinner? And you know how kids are. What can we do now, Mom? And should I start homework? And I just said, go to your room. Please go to your room and give me a moment and clean your rooms. They need cleaning. Just straighten your rooms. And Trevor, my second son, had taken over Garrett's desk. That was what he wanted from Garrett, and had moved it into his room a week or so before and hadn't sorted through it. So he chose to go to his room and start cleaning his desk. About 10 minutes later, my son Trevor walks in, and his hand is shaking, and he's holding a card. And he said, Mom, he said, you're not going to believe this. And he handed me this card, and it happened to be a card from Garrett. It was Garrett's stationery. Long ago, a friend had given stationery to all of my children with their names on it. And it was Garrett's handwriting. And it said, Happy Mother's Day, Mom. And inside was a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. He said, Happy Mother's Day, Mom. You are a very special person. You really are. And you write books and you take care of kids. And a big heart is needed to do both of those things. And a big heart is what you have. Happy Mother's Day. I love you very much, Garrett. There's no explanation for that. I don't know if he wrote it the year before and it was hidden. Trevor said he found it underneath the drawer, so when he pulled out the drawer, it was stuck underneath there. I don't know where it came from, but those are the miracles that as parents who have lost children, we hang on to. And we know
and I really choose... Yeah, and I choose to believe, Sandy, that, when people pass away, they're still with us very much in spirit. And that was a miracle that you got that card that day. And, I appreciate so much you sharing the story today with us because, A, it educates us on what bacterial meningitis is, but also it shows us that the grieving process doesn't have to be an end, that it doesn't have to be a goodbye. It's keeping that memory alive, and who knows what more treasures you'll find as you go down, maybe unfolding boxes, who knows what you'll find. And, I really believe that people who have passed away in my life, my dad, my Nana, I talk to them all the time. I know you talk to Garrett all the time. And so, I'm very proud that you wrote your book. And what is that called, the book that you wrote about this?
It's called How to Survive the Worst That Can Happen. It's a parent's step-by-step guide for healing after the loss of a child.
Well, I'm sure Garrett is so proud that you did that. You already had the writing skills, but to tell his story is very inspiring. So today we will just wish Garrett greatness where he is and what he's doing. And I know you're a woman of faith, and so I know that your faith, kind of kept you going. And I guess as we wrap up today's interview, I just want to say thank you very much. And you very much are a beautiful representation of what it means to live full out. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate being able to share my story.
Absolutely. Have a great day, Sandy. We'll be keeping your prayers and your family in our thoughts. Okay?
Wonderful. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And for everybody listening today, we are talking about dealing with the unexpected. And right there, Sandy gave us a real great visual of sometimes the unexpected can be a card, can be a picture, can be a memory of something that we can remember of someone who has passed. And also the unexpected can be something out of the blue. Maybe you find a penny, pick it up. All day long you have good luck, right? It could be unexpected. It could be, knowing that you're going to get an opportunity that you weren't even thinking was going to come your way. Just keep your arms and your ears and your eyes open. That's what it means to live full out. We'll be right back to take more of your calls. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
Jesse! Let's go, guys! Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Wow, jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's true. I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Pretty obvious.
Yeah, so obvious.
Oh, hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Gentlemen, our future rests on the success of this cookie.
Yes, CW. But what do we name it?
How about Wafericious? Twin-style cookie.
I've got it! Chocolama!
What about you, Hurley? Well, Hurley, you're a genius.
Got milk?
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun. The kid didn't know it was loaded.
I heard on the news about that 14-year-old girl who was bullied online. For like a year, she couldn't take it anymore, so she got her dad's gun from his nightstand.
I heard on the news about that guy who broke into someone's house, stole a gun from the hall closet.
He accidentally shot his cousin in the head.
She killed herself.
And later, killed the owner of the store he was trying to rob.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
And here's my cell phone number, the number of the restaurant.
Honey, come on, he'll be fine.
The odds of a babysitter calling 911? 1 in 1,400. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 150. Here are some of the signs. No big smiles or other joyful expressions by 6 months. No back and forth sharing of sounds or facial expressions by 9 months. And no babbling by 12 months. To learn more of the signs, visit autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
At highway speeds, the average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. That's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Packers.
Vikings.
Red State.
Blue State.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But no matter how different we are, we're all connected, and we can all make a difference. That's why United Way brings people, expertise, and resources together to improve the education, income, and health of our communities, the building blocks for a better life. When we live united, our efforts, magnified by others, add up to real change. Children succeed in school, families gain financial stability, the health of our neighbors improves, and suddenly, so do our communities. But real change won't happen without you.
Live united.
So let's look beyond our differences.
Live united.
One by one, let's make a difference. Let's reach out a hand to one and influence the condition of all.
Live united.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Sign up today at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
When you dealing with the unexpected means that you're going to have to hold on to your inner strength and also turn to family and friends for support, because there's no real way to handle it. It's coming at you. You didn't plan on it, but you can live full out beyond the unexpected.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about dealing with the unexpected. And gosh, I remember way back when I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. Both of my sisters were diagnosed as well. My mom was a single mom. Those were 3 big gulps, 4, including my mom. Knowing that we'd go blind one day, what would that look like? I mean, literally. How would I keep my independence? What would I do for a career? What would my relationships look like? But I had a choice back then, surrender to denial and give up and just kind of roll myself back and just say, okay, I'm going to just settle, or rally and go for life. And that's what I did. I looked at the unexpected timeline of when I was going to lose my eyesight, and I said, you know what? I'm going to put together a bucket list. What do I need to do first that I need my vision for? My sister and I, we went off to Europe. We hit 26 countries in 3 months. I took my education in studying Japanese, and I went off to Japan, Hokkaido, Japan, and was an exchange student. I got my education, although today many students visually impaired and blind do go to school, but back then the visual aids were not as good as they are today, so I wanted to make sure that was a priority. And then as I went along, I really built my world to be based upon what I hear, what I feel, what I smell, what I taste, and I let those be my guides versus my eyes. Now that is how I dealt with the unexpected of going blind. But for you, you might be dealing with the unexpected of another disability. Or maybe your circumstances in life have you being held back, or you feel as though you are, because you don't have the time, you don't have the money, you don't have the resources to get to where you want to go. What I want to share with you today is that the unexpected does not have to be a limitation. It does not need to be a big dark cloud that's going to hold you back from thriving and living full out. The biggest thing that you want to remember is to defuse the unexpected. Take the power away from the fact that it has control over your destiny. If something is happening and going in a direction that feels uncomfortable or unexplained or sudden, then you want to just be in the moment. When we react too fast and we do things, sometimes either rational or irrational, we make decisions too quickly. We don't think it out. If you're in that hyper mode right now, I just encourage you to just take today to just be. Maybe you need to be by yourself and journal and write. Maybe if you're feeling lonely, today is the perfect day to call a friend and either talk with them over the phone or make a meeting to get together. But either way, it's really important that when we're in a place of overwhelm, when we feel this unexpected concerns and worry washing over us, that we're able to hold on to what I call anchors. So in my life, my service dog is an anchor. When I go out there in the world, I can't see everything in front of me, but he helps guide me. My friends, my family, they are anchors for me when I'm feeling overwhelmed or kind of lost as to what to do with a situation. they always remind me, Nancy, you've gotten yourself out of pickles before, you'll survive this one too. And so it's really important that as we think about what it is that you're dealing with, that you handle the unexpected with as much grace, determination, fearlessness as you can. And when you get scared, when you get upset, don't feel as though that's failing. Don't feel as though that's weakness, because we've all been there. What I want you to do is take today to reclaim your life. Take that unexpected and push it aside and take the power back. You have that ability to do that. Most of all, the entire Living Full Out family is here each week to make sure that you are able to live a great, healthy, happy life. Everybody here, we got Rich and John and Gio and Riley and Ella and Ariel and so many people that want to make sure that you're able to go beyond today and thrive in the biggest way possible. Feel free to go to livingfullout.com, check out today's show again, or you can go to the App Store, look for Living Full Out Radio. But until then, here's to you living full out. I believe in you. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.